What if the man you married, the one who promised to protect you, became the very person you needed protection from? This is the heartbreaking story of Florence, whose dream of a happy marriage quickly turned into a nightmare of abuse, fear, and pain. To the world, it looked perfect: luxury houses, beautiful family pictures, and a charming husband. But behind closed doors, it was bruises, tears, and silence. Florence's story is not just her story, it is the story of countless women who are trapped, afraid to leave, afraid of what people will say. Stay with me and learn from her story. Florence stood in her white dress, smiling at Benjamin as he promised to love and protect her forever. The church was full of friends and family, all celebrating what looked like a perfect match. Benjamin was handsome, successful, and charming. Everyone said she was lucky to have him. "You look beautiful," he whispered, but his grip on her hand was too tight. She ignored the small pain, thinking it was just excitement. The photographer captured their smiles, but Florence didn't see the cold look in Benjamin's eyes when no one was watching. After the ceremony, guests praised Benjamin for being such a gentleman. He smiled and thanked them, playing the perfect husband role. Florence felt proud but somehow empty inside. She pushed the feeling away. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Their honeymoon in Paris should have been magical. Benjamin took photos of them at every landmark, posting them online with captions about their perfect love. But when the cameras were away, he criticized everything Florence did. "Why did you order that food? It makes you look greedy," he said at dinner. "And fix your hair. You are embarrassing me in front of these people." Florence tried to laugh it off, thinking he was just stressed from the wedding planning. She changed her order and fixed her hair, wanting to make him happy. When she suggested visiting a museum, he rolled his eyes. "We're doing what I planned. I know what's best for us," he said firmly. By the end of the trip, Florence felt confused and tired. The photos showed a happy couple, but she felt like she was walking on eggshells. She told herself all marriages needed adjustment time. Moving into their new house, Florence hoped things would improve. She decorated carefully, wanting to create a warm home, but Benjamin criticized every choice she made. "This couch is ugly. The curtains are wrong. Can't you do anything right?" he said, making her feel small and stupid. When Florence got pregnant, she thought Benjamin would be gentler. Instead, he became more controlling. He decided what she could eat, who she could see, and where she could go. "I'm protecting our baby," he said when she questioned him. "You don't understand these things like I do." Florence's sister Maria visited and noticed the changes. "You seem different, Flo. Are you okay?" she asked with concern. "I'm fine, just tired from pregnancy." Florence lied, not wanting to admit something was wrong. Benjamin was always sweet when others were around, making her doubt her own feelings about his behavior. When Junior was born, Florence felt pure joy holding her son. Benjamin seemed proud too, taking photos and calling relatives. But at home, he complained about the crying and refused to help with night feedings. "That's your job. I work all day," he said when Florence asked for help. She was exhausted but tried to do everything perfectly. One night, Junior wouldn't stop crying. Benjamin got angry and yelled, "Shut that kid up." When Florence couldn't calm the baby quickly enough, Benjamin pushed her hard. She stumbled, nearly dropping Junior. "Look what you made me do," he said, as if it was her fault. Florence held her crying baby, her own tears falling silently. She looked at Junior's innocent face and made a silent promise to protect him, but she didn't know how to protect herself. This was the first time Benjamin had touched her in anger, but it wouldn't be the last. The pushing became slapping. The slapping became hitting. Florence learned to cover bruises with makeup and long sleeves. She became an expert at lying about her injuries. "I fell down the stairs," she told her co-worker Sarah when asked about a black eye. "I'm so clumsy these days." Benjamin was always sorry afterward, bringing flowers and promising it would never happen again. I love you so much, Florence. I just get frustrated sometimes. You know I would never really hurt you, he would say, holding her gently. Florence wanted to believe him. She loved the Benjamin who brought flowers, not the one who hurt her. She hoped the good Benjamin would win and the bad one would disappear forever. Junior was now walking and talking. Florence lived in fear that he would see his father hurt her. She tried to keep their fights quiet and away from him, but children notice everything. Sometimes Junior would cling to her legs when Benjamin raised his voice. At her job as a receptionist, Florence's colleagues began to notice changes. She was quieter, jumpy, and often had mysterious injuries. Sarah, her closest work friend, tried to talk to her several times. Florence, that's the third time this month you've come in with a bruise. Are you sure everything's okay at home? Sarah asked gently. Benjamin and I had a small argument, but it's fine now. Marriage is hard work, you know, Florence replied, forcing a smile. Her supervisor, Mrs. Johnson, also became concerned. Florence was a good worker, but lately she seemed distracted and scared. One morning, Florence came in with a swollen lip. I walked into a door. Florence explained quickly before anyone could ask. Mrs. Johnson pulled her aside. Florence, if you ever need help or someone to talk to, I'm here. You don't have to face anything alone. Florence thanked her but insisted everything was fine. She couldn't admit the truth, even to herself. The apartment walls were thin, and their neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Peterson, often heard shouting from Benjamin and Florence's home. Mrs. Peterson was a kind older woman who had grown fond of Florence and Junior. One afternoon, she met Florence in the hallway. Dear, I've been hearing some noise lately. Is everything all right? She asked with genuine concern. Florence's face turned red. Oh, we just have loud TV sometimes. I'm sorry if we disturb you. But Mrs. Peterson wasn't fooled. She had raised 3 daughters and knew the sound of trouble. Florence, if you ever need anything at all, I'm just next door. Sometimes we all need help. Florence nodded quickly and hurried into her apartment. That night, Benjamin came home angry about work. When Junior spilled juice on the floor, Benjamin exploded. The neighbors definitely heard the shouting that followed, and Florence knew they probably heard her crying too. She felt ashamed that strangers knew her secrets. Florence's sister Maria had been watching her closely during family visits. Florence was thinner, quieter, and always seemed nervous. When Maria saw fingerprint bruises on Florence's arm, she couldn't stay quiet anymore. Florence, we need to talk. What is Benjamin doing to you? Maria asked directly during a private moment. Nothing. Why would you think that? Florence replied, pulling her sleeves down quickly. Because I have eyes, Flo. You're scared all the time. You have bruises. This isn't normal. Their mother, Grace, joined the conversation. Sweetheart, you know you can tell us anything. If Benjamin is hurting you, we can help. Florence started crying. You don't understand. I can't just leave. What about Junior? What will people say? Benjamin says no one will believe me anyway. Maria took her hands. We believe you, and Junior needs a safe mother more than he needs his parents together. Please let us help you. But Florence shook her head. The shame was too deep, and Benjamin's words echoed in her mind about how no one would help her. The worst night came when Benjamin lost a big deal at work. He came home drunk and angry, ready to take it out on Florence. Junior was playing with his toys in the living room when Benjamin started yelling. This house is a mess. You're useless. No wonder I can't succeed with a wife like you, he screamed. When Florence tried to calm him down, he slapped her so hard she fell. Junior saw everything and started crying. Benjamin turned his anger toward the child. Shut up! Both of you shut up! He yelled, raising his hand toward Junior. Something inside Florence snapped. She jumped up and stood between Benjamin and her son. Don't you dare touch him, she said with strength she didn't know she had. Benjamin hit her again, harder this time. She fell against the wall, and Junior ran to her, crying, "Mommy!" The look of fear in her son's eyes broke Florence's heart completely. She realized she wasn't protecting Junior by staying. She was teaching him that this was normal. The next morning, while Benjamin was at work, Florence called Maria with shaking hands. "I need help," she whispered into the phone. "I'm coming right now," Maria replied without hesitation. Within 2 hours, Maria arrived with their brother James and a truck. They packed Florence and Junior's belongings quickly while neighbors watched from their windows. Mrs. Peterson came out and hugged Florence. "You're doing the right thing, dear. Be strong," she whispered. Florence left a note for Benjamin. "I can't live like this anymore. Don't try to find us." As they drove away, Junior asked, "Are we going on a trip, Mommy?" "Yes, baby. A long trip to somewhere safe," Florence replied, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in years, they were tears of relief instead of pain. She was scared about the future, but anything was better than the hell she was leaving behind. Florence and Junior moved in with Maria temporarily. The first few weeks were hard. Florence jumped at every sound, and Junior kept asking when Daddy was coming. She had to explain in simple words that they wouldn't be living with Daddy anymore. Benjamin called constantly, leaving angry voicemails. "You can't do this to me. Bring my son back. You're nothing without me." His words still hurt, but Florence was learning to see them for what they were, lies meant to control her. She found a new job at a business center downtown. The pay was less than her old job, but it was a fresh start. Her supervisor, Mr. Williams, was kind and patient as she learned the new systems. On her first day, she met Dennis in the elevator. He was tall, gentle-looking, and when he smiled, his eyes were kind full, so different from Benjamin's cold stare. "New here?" he asked politely. "Yes." "First day," Florence replied shyly. "Welcome to the building. I'm Dennis." His voice was warm and calm. "Florence," she said, surprised at how safe she might be. Dennis worked in the same building, running an import business with offices in Dubai. Over the following weeks, they often met in the elevator or cafeteria. Dennis was always polite and respectful, never pushing for conversation, but always friendly when they talked. One day, Florence was having trouble with her computer when Dennis passed by her desk. "Need some help?" he offered gently. "I don't want to bother you," Florence said quickly, used to being told she was a burden. "It's no bother at all," Dennis replied, fixing her computer problem in minutes. "There you go." As he walked away, Florence felt something she hadn't felt in years. Simple human kindness without expecting anything in return. It confused her because Benjamin had convinced her that no one would ever help her without wanting something back. Sarah, her co-worker, noticed Dennis's attention. "He seems nice," she commented. "He's just being polite," Florence replied. But inside, she wondered what it would be like to know someone truly kind. Slowly, Florence and Dennis began talking more. He mentioned he was a widower, having lost his wife Sarah 3 years ago to cancer. "She was my best friend," he said sadly. "I have a daughter, Emma. She's 8 now." Florence shared that she was separated and had a son. Dennis never pushed for details, but his kind eyes showed he understood she had been through something difficult. "Single parenting is hard," he said gently. "If you ever need someone to talk to who understands, I'm here." Florence found herself looking forward to their brief conversations. Dennis never made her feel stupid or wrong. When she shared opinions, he listened respectfully. When she made mistakes at work, he offered help without making her feel bad. "You're very intelligent," he said one day after she solved a difficult problem. Florence almost cried because Benjamin had spent years telling her she was stupid. Dennis's simple compliments reminded her that Benjamin's words weren't true. For the first time in years, Florence began to remember who she used to be before Benjamin broke her spirit. Benjamin discovered where Florence worked and began calling her office. "Tell my wife to come home immediately," he demanded. When Mrs. Johnson answered, "Sir, I cannot force any employee to take calls they don't want," Mrs. Johnson replied professionally. Benjamin grew more desperate and angry. He sent threatening messages. "You can't hide forever. I'll find you and bring Junior home where he belongs. You're still my wife." Florence felt terrified reading his messages. One evening, Dennis noticed she seemed upset in the elevator. "Is everything okay?" he asked with genuine concern. Florence broke down and told him about Benjamin's threats. Dennis listened without judgment. "Have you considered getting a restraining order?" he asked gently. "You and Junior deserve to feel safe." "I don't know how," Florence admitted. "I know a good lawyer. Would you like me to arrange a meeting?" Dennis offered. "No pressure, just if you want help." Florence realized Dennis was offering help without trying to control her decisions, something Benjamin never did. With Dennis's help, Florence met with lawyer Jennifer Martinez. Jennifer was experienced in domestic violence cases and spoke to Florence with kindness and respect. "You're brave for taking these steps," Jennifer said. "Many women struggle to leave abusive situations." Florence filed for divorce and a restraining order. When the papers were served to Benjamin, he exploded with rage, calling everyone he could think of to complain. "She can't do this to me. I'm a good husband," he told anyone who would listen. But Florence had documentation of hospital visits, photos of bruises, and witness statements from neighbors. The truth was finally being heard. Dennis supported her through the legal process, driving her to appointments and helping watch Junior when needed. He never made her feel like a burden or demanded anything in return. "Thank you for everything," Florence said one evening. "You would do the same for a friend," Dennis replied simply. Florence realized he was right. She would help a friend. Dennis saw her as an equal, not someone beneath him like Benjamin did. As months passed, Florence and Dennis spent more time together. Their children played while they talked about work, life, and dreams. Emma was a sweet girl who was kind to Junior, and Junior began smiling more. "Mommy, I like Mr. Dennis," Junior said one day. "He doesn't yell like Daddy did." Florence's heart ached knowing her son remembered the yelling. She was grateful Dennis showed Junior what kindness looked like. Dennis shared stories about his late wife and how much he missed her. "I never thought I'd feel ready to care about someone again," he admitted one evening. "I never thought I'd trust anyone again," Florence replied honestly. "We don't have to rush anything," Dennis said gently. "We can just see where friendship leads us." Florence appreciated that Dennis didn't pressure her. With Benjamin, everything had been rushed and demanded. Dennis let their relationship grow naturally, at her pace. When Florence's divorce was finalized, Dennis brought her flowers to celebrate her freedom. After a year of friendship and slow courtship, Dennis asked Florence to marry him, but his proposal was nothing like Benjamin's demands and control. "Florence, you're the kindest, strongest woman I've ever met. I love you and Junior, and I want to build a life together, if you're ready," he said simply. "What about your business in Dubai?" Florence asked. "We could move there together, start fresh where no one knows your past. Emma and Junior could have new opportunities, but only if you want to," Dennis replied. Florence thought about starting completely new, away from Benjamin's threats and the painful memories. "What if I'm not ready? What if I'm too damaged?" she asked, voicing her fears. "You're not damaged, Florence. You're healing, and I'll wait as long as you need," Dennis said, holding her hands gently. Florence realized Dennis loved her for who she was, not who he wanted to change her into. After thinking for a week, she said yes. Their wedding was small and simple, with just family and close friends. Unlike her first wedding, Florence felt genuinely happy and safe. Moving to Dubai felt like stepping into a completely different life. Dennis's business was successful, and he showed Florence the operations, asking for her ideas and opinions. "You have excellent judgment," he said when she suggested improvements. Would you like to be my business partner? Florence was amazed. Benjamin had never valued her thoughts about anything. Now Dennis wanted her as an equal partner in his company. Junior and Emma adapted well to their new school and made friends quickly. Junior stopped having nightmares and began laughing more. Emma treated him like a real little brother. I love our family, Emma said one day, and Florence felt tears of joy. The warm Dubai sunshine seemed to heal something deep inside Florence. She began wearing bright colors again, something Benjamin had discouraged. She felt beautiful for the first time in years. Dennis never raised his voice, never criticized her appearance, and never made her feel stupid. He encouraged her dreams and celebrated her successes. This was what real love looks like. As Florence healed and grew stronger, she began thinking about other women still trapped like she had been. She started volunteering at a women's shelter in Dubai, sharing her story and offering support. I was married to a narcissist for 5 years, she would tell new arrivals. I thought I could never escape, but here I am. You can escape too. Her story gave hope to women who felt hopeless. Florence understood their shame, fear, and confusion because she had felt it all. Dennis supported her volunteer work completely. You're helping so many people, he said proudly. Florence began speaking at conferences about domestic violence. Her simple, honest way of sharing touched audiences deeply. She didn't use fancy words. She just told the truth about what abuse looked like and how healing was possible. Love doesn't hurt became her main message. Real love makes you feel safe, valued, and free to be yourself. Women from around the world began contacting Florence for advice and support. She was becoming the advocate she wished she'd had during her darkest days. 5 years after leaving Benjamin, Florence had built a life she never imagined possible. Her business with Dennis was thriving, her children were happy and confident, and she was helping hundreds of women find freedom from abuse. One day, she received a letter from Mrs. Peterson, her old neighbor. Dear Florence, I'm so proud of what you've become. You gave me hope for my own daughter who was in a similar situation. Thank you for showing us all what courage looks like. Florence kept a photo on her desk. Dennis, Emma, Junior, and herself smiling on a beach in Dubai. Their faces showed genuine happiness and peace. Benjamin had tried to convince her she was worthless and could never survive without him. Now she was a successful businesswoman, loving wife, devoted mother, and voice for the voiceless. Sometimes women would ask her, how did you find the strength to leave? I realized I wasn't just saving myself, Florence would answer. I was saving my son from learning that hurting people is normal, and I was saving myself for the life I deserved. Florence's story became proof that no matter how broken someone feels, healing and happiness are possible. Her journey from victim to survivor to advocate inspired countless others to find their own courage and reclaim their lives. If you are watching this and you are still trapped in an abusive marriage or relationship, hear this. Love is not supposed to hurt you. Real love does not break you, it builds you. Real love does not silence you, it gives you a voice. Florence thought she could never escape, but the moment she chose to leave, her life began to change. She found peace, she found healing, and she found true love. And so can you. Don't let shame, fear, or the question of what will people say keep you in chains. Your life is worth more than people's opinions. You are stronger than you think. And maybe, just maybe, leaving that pain behind is the very beginning of the happiness you deserve. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories about love, family, and life lessons. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.